Here are two Stentors under the species Stentor niger, and these are under polarized light microscopy. So to create this, I put two polarizing strips on my microscope. One was on the light source and one was in the head of the microscope. By twisting them, you can change the level of polarization. It'll make it look like dark field to bright field. This is in a setting that is more like dark field. And this is that Stentor. I know it's Stentor niger because it's very thin until it gets to the head. I see these more often than any other Stentors. I sometimes see Stentor roseae. But those small pieces of food that they've eaten and small algae pieces are being illuminated by the polarization. Different compounds glow in different ways. I believe that's because of the chlorophyll. But here it's being zoomed out, and all the pieces of large sediment are glowing, and it's hard to focus because of the exposure right now. But different parts of the slide are very bright and they're glowing, and this allows you to do stuff. But the reason it's getting bright and going from bright field to dark field is because the slip that is on the light source, I am just rotating. This is in full bright field, but of course the exposure hasn't been set for that. Here are those Stentors again. Here is another Stentor I found. It's very visible. There is not much contrast here though, due to the lack of pigments, so I turned it again, and that gave me some more contrast. And now it's contracted because I hit the slide by turning that. Now its cilia are going again in order to try and get food. So now it's fully extended. I changed the exposure here. Well, actually, I changed the diaphragm, and by changing the diaphragm, I can make it go from like a full dark field, and I can actually make it look more like bright field, and I can make it so those iridescent objects stand out far more than the ones that aren't. And it looks kind of cool because then you're only seeing these glowing objects. And sometimes you can get it to where it looks three-dimensional, but that's hard to capture under a camera. And that green object below is a closterium. And here's what that looks like. It looks really cool without the camera, but like you can see these glowing objects just scattered around. And I was able to do some cool stuff with the desmids looking inside them. Here I did not adjust the condenser diaphragm, but instead I just opened the exposure, and now it looks more normal, and there are those two Stentors again. And there is a desmid. And it's next to that stentor.
Oh! Oh, good. So this little speck of dirt here, as we can see, this little speck of dirt it's struggling. You know, I don't think it's doing so good. Oh, well, it's gone. Oh, now we can see the speck of dirt closer. We can see it up a bit closer.
So, this is not actually a speck of dirt. This is far from equilibrium life. It is a desmid, like I said earlier. And now you can see everything inside it moving around and the chlorophyll plus the chloroplasts moving, which is lit up by the polarization.
How do you check like your Ubisoft account email? How do you do that?
And you can hear another type of multicellular organism that is actually a macroorganism in the background right now. That is a very special organism that is currently considered the most advanced on Earth, called Homo sapien. But they have made advanced tools and are capable of doing things like spraying air, for example. They are not photosynthetic and rely on consuming other plants and organisms. They're not producers. But this is, again, with a 10 times objective, and that's that stentor again. This was me changing the condenser, which made it so it was much brighter, and now it looks like dark field with just these lit up objects. And once I zoomed out, I closed it again. And there's that rotifer once again.
Why? Is it insta kill? Don't kill him. If you hit him in the head, it will insta kill. You could also just shoot his foot.
It's much nicer to view these in polarized light because you can see those areas in its body and those organs much better, like that orange section.
So you can jump over them.
But anyways, this is with the 4 times objective again.
Tell me that's a bomb.
There's the 2 stentors again. And when I got the slide, I realized that there was something that I could see which was moving, and I guessed it was an adult cyclops, and here that is. It's actually pregnant, and you can see those 2 sacks of eggs on the side, and 2 strips are being light up. It looked really nice through the actual microscope. It doesn't look as nice through the microscope camera, though. You can see that it looks much different when it turns on its side than from the top view. And it kicks around rather than moving in a normal fashion. This was with a different setting of the condenser diaphragm, and it's in lower FPS because the exposure time was set way up.
I gotta call my mom, Waylon.
And
Ubisoft Connect account.
it has a red eye from the photosynthetic glands.
So
Well, not glands, but just
help me with it.
cells.
Oh my gosh, why?
Because I need to connect to my normal account.
How you just said you figured out what the account
It's very well illuminated.
But I don't know what the password is.
This is with it even lowered more, so you can only really see those lit up areas.
So you can be scared.
Why can't I just spectate my team? Like what?
You can. Wait, maybe? If I go to account.
Here it is moving around again. This was with the normal illumination, and it's crossing over that clostridium.
Gosh, I don't even know if that computer actually has enough storage, so.
Yeah.
There's those desmids again. Sorry about the background noise from the macro animals. Also, the reason it is moving so randomly looking is not because of low FPS. This is just how they move. There is that rotifer again. Here it is in a different illumination method. And this was just a very odd looking purple thing I found that just looked very interesting. There are several species of bacteria that are purple, but I do not think this is any sort of bacteria. Here's a gastrotrich from the other Chitanotida.
Res him. I want you to res him.
Goodbye.